Good morning, my friends. Daniel Miller here. How's everybody doing? It's been a long while since my broadcast was indeed aired here on Twitch, and I'm back. I'm back today for an introduction on my Season 3 here on Twitch. I will be telling you a bit about the current status on all I've been doing since we've had our last broadcast here. But also, in addition to that, we'll be talking about the future and all that is going to be commencing here on my channel. As you know, I talked quite a bit during the lockdown about a different sort of experience I've had here with our community and the gamers. On one hand, people were more engaged with their own games because obviously they had a lot more time, they were spending time indoors. But I also did find that a lot of people, particularly from our US community, just completely disappeared. They were not there. And I figured in the meantime as to why that was. Many people experienced huge hardships as a result of this dreadful pandemic, and many had to discontinue with their internet and with the extra bills which they had to pay. Therefore they had no access to online gaming throughout the period, and therefore they were really sort of cut off from our community and the communication, all that we usually have here, which really made me very, very sad. But indeed, the pandemic is leaving a very, very deep trace everywhere, really, on our economy, on the people, on all we do, and I think a lot more is to follow, because as you know, the pandemic indeed is still out there. A lot of people are suffering tremendously in consequence, and we're just hoping that the vaccine and all that needs to be completed with its trials will be coming our way soon, so that this absolutely awful environment, lockdown, is going to be coming back to what we've had in the past. But it's been many months. It's been 6 months or so far in the United Kingdom. We've had the lengthiest lockdown in Europe, 3 months on the trot. And although we had opened up some facilities, you really can tell that nothing is back to normal, and everyone is very, very careful with their whereabouts, and everyone is wearing protective equipment. The usual businesses such as pubs and restaurants are not particularly busy, and therefore all of us were deeply affected. Indeed, I had been quite involved with another side of the pandemic, and I had been helping people who had suffered through either contracting the virus or people who had lost loved ones. So therefore had been very, very busy on all fronts, as you could imagine, and all of that indeed has been provided charitably, and I did have a very, very good response, and I'm very glad to see that people indeed had survived the pandemic and they have been able to complete a full recovery in many cases. But we are indeed looking forward to the future where this dreadful virus is going to be fully neutralized through the use of vaccine. Coming back to the gaming and my channel, I've had a good afterthought on all that we had been completing here with our community, and as you know, the channel's now progressing towards its 2nd year of existence. I did start out a bit like an experiment in 2018, and we were going to be looking at Destiny as our main game that was indeed present here every single day. This was Destiny 1. We built our community around the members and the gamers worldwide who are still in awe of that wonderful Bungie project. And we then carried on with a bit of a variety. We presented some of the games that were coming up during the period, and the new release games, some of the freebies, some of the stuff offered on PS Now and Xbox Game Pass services, and also everything was literally slotted in within that broadcasting hour. And the broadcasting hour was varying from maybe 90, 120 minutes to about 5 or 6 hours a day. So I thought, after watching some of the streams and looking at the concept that was present here, it would be wise to be splitting the broadcast into smaller sections which are dedicated to a particular topic. That means that the news, the introductions, all that is industry related will no longer be part of my regular slotted lengthy stream. We are going to be looking at shorter streams that are dedicated to a particular field, and that's really in response to emails and tweets I received from our viewers and various community members who said that they are a bit divided in terms of the interest they have. We have quite a few mature old gamers present here in our community, and they're very interested in all that's happening out there with Bethesda's and BioWare's and Bungie's of this world. They really want to know all the news. They're very curious about all that's happening and all the novelties that are springing up from various developers. But we also have a number of younger generation gamers who absolutely are not interested in anything to do with industry. They just want to be either watching games which are played live, or they want to be engaged in conversations that are absolutely linked to the actual online gaming activity, frequently to a particular game or the activity which is being displayed on the screen. And that usually here was the activity in Destiny 1 or its sequel. So I think if we are splitting the broadcast into separate sections, and if we are looking at particular topics and subjects, they will draw attention of those who are really interested. The difficulty if you stream on consoles is that you cannot easily channel the topic through the section of your choice, because they have just chatting and IRL channels on Twitch, but we can't really access them through here if indeed we are presenting our stream to one of the games. So we're always being siphoned off through Bungie's Destiny 1 and 2 or PUBG or any other of the major Twitch sections dedicated to a particular game, and that will cause, I guess, a bit of concern amongst those who are new to this forum, but otherwise for everyone who is picking up the news on buyers or indeed our older community members, all will be fair and square. They will know exactly what the score is. So really, what is the new concept here for my Season 3? My Season 3 will start very, very shortly. I had been considering whether to start on the 1st of September, because September is going to be the 2nd year anniversary of this channel, but maybe we'll have a few test streams prior to that, just to find out how the new concept is going to be received, whether it's gelling in with the regulars and whether it's bringing in some new blood really to the community. So first of all, as we are splitting the usual broadcast into smaller sections, you will recall that usually my first hour was dedicated to the industry news and also to the various gaming activities of mine, and that now will be divided into two separate slots. One that will be specifically dedicated to the daily industry news, and that will be looking at what new games are coming out per day. In fact, so it's going to be fairly short and crisp, and this will be delivered early in the day. So we'll have something in the morning, probably around 10 o'clock, and it's going to be a short bulletin telling you all that's happening out there. Really, the daily news will be very much kind of focused and talking about the games that are just about to come out, or those that are advertised through various trailers or developer diaries. Give an example, Tell Me Why is a major new game coming from Donut Studios, and you will know the developer from wonderful Life is Strange series, which we absolutely admired and loved and played on various platforms. The game is coming out tomorrow, so I really considered whether to give them some extra support and provide them with thumbs up. The game is quite revolutionary in terms of its both topic and the subject. It is intending to present a community which is very inclusive, people of all sorts of backgrounds and orientations. And I just watched earlier the developer diaries which were released today, and it certainly is very, very mind-boggling, and we are very it's triggering off a degree of curiosity in me about what stories we are likely to be watching and what's actually happening in the game, because you will be familiar with the concept where all you do will have consequence. So the way you talk to characters will open up new possibilities, and you will then engage a particular sort of plot which will result in a specific outcome. Therefore, the game is highly replayable. Depending on your choices, your preferences and your actions, you will be building your own narrative. But the community that is going to be brought in, according to the developer, is the transgender community, because one of the characters, I believe, from what I've heard, is a member of that particular section of our society. And this is quite a novelty here in video gaming, and particularly as you are going to be able to interfere with the decisions that the character is going to be making and presenting them with a particular outcome. Very excited to see how this is going to work out in practice, and therefore we might have some of those streams. So for instance, anything related to an interesting new game or new release will indeed be remarked on and explored during our daily news bulletins. I just mentioned Tell Me Why as one of the examples because I had preloaded the game and I've got it on my Xbox Game Pass. And as you know, Game Pass together with PS Now services is by far the very best way of enjoying, playing and engaging with the wonderful and mysterious world of video gaming as it stands today. And you can certainly experience lots of different games, many of those perhaps you would not see otherwise on a price of a monthly subscription, which is very, very minimal compared to the usual prices. And it's a service that works perfectly once combined with all the other things on consoles. You know, if you are, for instance, on PlayStation, you can be trying out games on PS Now services. They've initiated a similar sort of protocol through which the blockbusters are frequently introduced and then taken off the server, so have a limited number of days or months to play specific games. And obviously during that period you will have substantial discounts on the same, which means if, for instance, you were not able to finish the game, or indeed if you absolutely loved it, you were in awe of it, you are going to be certainly pursuing the special offer. You will purchase the game before the period on its with its presence on the live forum still exists, and you are then going to be the owner. The prices are very, very good, and I have to say I personally had engaged with quite a number of games during the last couple of years, specifically so during the last half year, and you know, they really made me buy those games. They were the games that were offered on phenomenal discounts. You tried them and you were getting them on a fraction of the price. Black Desert Online is sold on 50 or 60, even £90 depending on what package you're taking. And then if you were trying it, for instance, on the free play day as offered by Microsoft and Xbox, you could get it on the price of £11. So it's a very, very significant difference. But being able to try the game in full for quite a period of time, be it on a free days I should say, the weekends, or through one of the live services, streaming services to be precise, it will make you try the game and experience it for yourself. And I really like the way they're selected, those that are present. I think Microsoft are a bit more careful and cagey in terms of what they're presenting to the customers, and they also have a greater rotation. Many games come and go, so very similar to what you have on Netflix and Amazon. PS Now is a bit more conservative. They have the preference for their own exclusives, and the vast majority of games that are just accessible on PlayStation, those games never go anywhere. Obviously they stay there at all times, which is the case with Xbox exclusives too, I have to say, on Xbox. So you know, if you are a regular long-term Xbox gamer, the games such as Gears of War, for instance, the entire series of Halo, are yours forever, as long as you're paying the subscription for the live services, and you don't have to purchase them elsewhere, and they're always available on the very best editions and with all DLC content and everything else. So absolutely wonderful. Coming back to PlayStation, so you have a game like let me think, what was it? PUBG was offered as part of the live service a little while back, but you know, let's say The Last of Us and any of the other exclusives, and then if they discontinue their presence, you can simply buy them on the fraction of the price, which, you know, makes it nice and easy. And I think as a new industry model, it is something that certainly is providing us with the best possible opportunity to experience the games, and also it does give us the best value because you are obviously getting the game on the best possible price, and sometimes those games are fairly recent. I'll give you an example. I've actually played both alpha and beta tests of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Ubisoft's wonderful tactical shooter, and I absolutely adore the game. I played the Wildlands quite a lot and enjoyed everything that was in it. And I thought that Breakpoint was just a step up, really, with some of the technicals and both the graphics and things which were added to the main character. And you were able to use your full cam. You could merge basically with the environment, become invisible if being intercepted or being seen by the enemy, and that was obviously of tremendous value. The game was obviously provided on a usual high price of about £60-70, depending on what edition you're pursuing. And I was astonished that recently, as they introduced extra 3 AI teammates, which came actually after many complaints were launched from the community, and also they introduced a called experience mode, which is really one of the best things I've seen in video games if you are into full customization. It means that you literally can tailor the whole game, inclusive of its story, content, mods, weaponry, kit, armor, to your own personal taste. And that includes not just the lead character, but everyone who's participating, your AI, teammates, and everyone else. That is astonishing. That really is of tremendous value. But for whatever reason, because of the game faced so much criticism, I think they offered it on such discounted price. So I got it for £10, and this was at a time where I think the AI teammates were being introduced, and we were having also a free weekend, which in fact was stretched to about 5 days for people to try the game. I love the game. I really, honestly, I think Recon Breakpoint is an amazing tactical shooter. It is a bit more difficult compared to some of the other ones from the franchise or the series, and it does require a lot more attention. It means you need to be planning a lot, so there's a component of strategy. Some situations will be easily resolved if you fully customize the character, and at other times you're just using the usual, they may not work out. Obviously similar to all the other big Ubisoft tactical shooters, like The Division or Rainbow Six Siege, you really are going to be enjoying the game the best if you are together with other teammates, if you do it together in a squad. And evidently every one of the squad members, your friends, will be customizing their characters and tailoring them to all that needs to be done. But really my point about it is the system. You are offered a game of that magnitude, one of the top AAA blockbusters, for free during a lengthy weekend if you're a subscriber to the Ultimate or the Xbox Live services. And they also provided it for free on other platforms. I need to stress that, because of introducing the new add-on with 3 AI characters, your teammates, squad mates. And then you can try it in full. You can try it for the full weekend for 3 or 4 days, and if you like the game, you can buy it on a very significant discount. So that's wonderful, and that really makes it much more of a worthwhile investment, because as you know, games are very expensive, and we really want to be able to try the games beforehand. And never ever had there been a better time for us to enjoy the gaming experience. But at the moment, you can try so many of them for free, and you can indeed subscribe to some of these streaming services. They expand on more than 1,000 games on those 2 platforms combined, and then take a decision for yourself, right? You can really buy the games that you really like, or indeed, if you're like myself, you will know from my broadcasts, I'm an avid graphic novels fan. I love graphic novels since I was about 4, collected very many over the years. I like collecting, so being able to double check all the special offers and things which are offered through Microsoft and PlayStation stores, even on Steam if you want to be gaming on your PC, you really need to be very, very regular and very diligent in checking out the prices, because they literally are similar to what you have with flights. They change all the time, and if you want to have the very best deal and your very best offer on a particular game, you need to keep it on your wish list, and you need to keep checking it, if not every day, every couple of days, and you'll get some absolutely incredible offers. So the game that you otherwise you'd pay £70 for, you get for £10-15, and those offers are very competitive. They're changing at all times, and frequently you will get that both platforms, the console platforms, are competing with one another, so there will be a difference of maybe a pound or two on a particular game. But equally, I think the system as introduced at the moment is certainly geared for the next generation. You will be familiar that both consoles will have their new product in late November, and that is PlayStation 5 and Xbox Project X. Be extremely excited about both of those, and each one is going to be absolutely phenomenal in its own way. Xbox Project X will be targeting cross-platform activity and also a massive storage space on the server, which will enable every subscriber to have all of the content from the console transferred to the space allocated on the server, and therefore easily accessible through any part of the planet. So wherever you are, if you have your tablet, your controller, internet connection, you'll be able to play your Xbox games without the actual console on you, and that's going to be for the first time in history. It's likely that gaming will be massively expanding in terms of the numbers due to this, and we are very curious to see how this is going to work technologically, because it's all well and fine to have the console, to have basically the new machine that we are going to be using, and the machine is going to be very, very, very dependent on internet speeds. Whether some of the games will work properly on the new console, if you're not in possession of the fastest speed, is under a very, very big question mark. I can tell you that from personal experience, because I have the fastest broadband available. I don't have fiber in my local area. They do not want to provide us with fiber optic for whatever reason, and I really could tell the difference both in the quality of my broadcasts and in the way I could engage, or I could say not engage, with PvP. I'm always lagging, I'm always behind, people can see me before I can see them, and this is of serious concern to me. But don't forget, the next generation gaming will have accelerated speeds, the consoles will have much greater capacity processors, and hopefully all is going to work. I think my question is not that much geared towards the actual console. I think it's likely that all will be properly tested and working perfectly. My question is directed at tablets and phones, because don't forget, you will be accessing information from the server, and you will need to have the fastest speeds available. So will you be able to see everything without any lag or buffering if you're using 4G, 5G network, or if you're using your ordinary, let's say, free Wi-Fi in a restaurant or in a public area? That is something for us to explore and see as the consoles come out. But certainly all that has been described so far is very impressive. It is providing us with a lot of enthusiasm and energy for all that is to follow. Coming back to the channel, so we'll have first of all our daily news bulletin, and that will be a fairly shortish broadcast early in the day, telling you all about the industry news, all that's happening in the video gaming world out there. My news are always based on the feeds that I get overnight, and they will comprise some of the stuff on YouTube, on some of the game hubs like Push Square and Games Radar, and then we'll just basically see what comes our way, what comes to my desk, and we'll talk about it every single day in a very, very shortish news bulletin broadcast. Secondly, you will know from experience of my channel, I frequently held game reviews. Game reviews will not be necessarily about the new games, but those which are offered to everyone through various online services, such as free days on Xbox, such as PlayStation Now services with new inclusions, free games to play, demos, various things which are thrown our way, like for instance alphas and betas, and anything else which comes under some form of special offer, where we can just step in and enjoy the game straight away. So these are going to be run in a, strictly speaking, industry-based format. We are going to be renewing and providing the information on that specific game first, and then after that we'll have our community engagement. I have to say that some of the busiest streams were actually during the reviews that are carried out for some of the biggest blockbusters. They included Ghost Recon and Anthem and The Division and a few other ones, and we've had very many people coming in. It was a very, very busy session. So what I'm really kind of looking forward to is the number of new gamers coming in and trying out this specific game that is being presented, and then discussing their own gaming experience as well as their own expectations and all they saw in a beta. For instance, you will have people who are very keen on what they saw. Otherwise, you'll have, on the other hand, you will have also some members who are perhaps concerned about the quality of graphics, lag, any technical issues, and generally overall experience of the game. So that is going to be very, very exciting for us to follow, to step in and connect with all the other gamers worldwide. Then after that, we'll have also some reviews of freebie weekends. As you know, Xbox in particular, they have lengthy weekends with 3 to 4 days, sometimes even 5 days of free gameplay. In fact, last week I was able to enjoy Overwatch, and I have to say I never played the game before, and always liked it. Its graphics and its battle royale style, but I've got to tell you, if I compare the actual enjoyments with all the other battle royales I played, and you will know from my streams, I played Apex, PUBG, I played Call of Duty, Modern Warfare Warzone, I played Bleeding Edge, as well as what was the game called recently? It wasn't Rocket League, it was let me see, it was Rocket Arena. It's a new game released on Xbox recently, and really compared to all of those, Overwatch and all I experienced during last weekend was probably the best. And that's purely for the enjoyment of the game more than anything else. What I particularly liked was how smooth the graphics were, how beautifully solid and free-flowing the gameplay was, and in addition to that, you always had, after you engage with the game, lots of different clips that indicated the best moments. Some of them are even automated. Your best moments, your best kills or activities were always recorded, and you were able to share them through your social networking. That is what I really like, and I think it's really a sort of game that is connecting with many gamers, old and new, worldwide, with interesting bits of information that are easily uploaded. Gaming is all about communication and connectivity, and that inclusion is really making it so easy for everyone to share, to gain new friends and to find new teammates. I think Bleeding Edge were also trying to do the same, but technically they're not performing. They had lots of different issues, and I tried it several times, played its beta, and I have to say, although the graphics and the characters are truly entertaining, you've had a situation where things will not really work out to plan, and therefore they would have lost out to the games like Overwatch. In addition, in Overwatch you have lots of different characters, and you've seen on Instagram and Twitter that these are among some of the most popular for cosplay. So you have lots of cosplayers worldwide trying to be just like one of those characters, and I find some of that equally entertaining and very sociable. It brings people together. People find out more about those characters, about the game. They step in, they start building the character and working on the game, and therefore they become one of the community members. So absolutely 10 out of 10 for Overwatch as far as I'm concerned. Really loved it, and I'll continue playing it, of course. So coming back to the concept, I mentioned that in addition to daily news bulletin, game reviews and 3-day reviews, we'll also be looking at new games. So that frequently will be offered through analysis of free demos. You will know that betas and alphas are demos are not as frequently present today as they were maybe 10 years ago, but still recently during the summer there was a particular event run on Xbox which was introducing 75 demos of the games that are to come out within the next half year. And I've got to say, I've not done anything like that for quite some time, and was a bit sort of hesitant because it felt a bit overwhelming with all the games. But the selection was very good. There was a combination of indies and non-mainstream and some blockbusters, and the games that we've heard of, and the vast majority that we probably would never hear of unless we've gone down the route of trying the demos, and that was great. So the demos are, they were of kind of various duration, but stepping in was giving us a very, very clear picture on what the game was likely to be. So for some of those exercises, if offered by either the platforms, I'll be giving you a brief review and maybe introducing, maybe streaming some of them as well. There were a few, I'll tell you. For instance, the one I really liked was a game called 9 Monkeys of Shaolin, and that was like really, really exciting. It was very similar to Samurai, the Japanese RPGs that we enjoyed playing, and it just seemed so smooth. It was a combination of RPG with some fighting, some looting, some strategy. It just seemed like really nice sort of game. So never heard of the game before, but definitely look forward to its release and all that comes together with it. So I mentioned betas. Probably you watched and you've seen some of the streams here when we were doing beta of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Anthem. What else did we do? Let me see, Bleeding Edge. And we've done Bleeding Edge for Xbox Microsoft Ambassadors community as well, part of that sort of activity on that specific weekend before the game was launched. And betas are always hit and miss. Sometimes everything works out perfectly, at other times there are lots of problems. So we've seen, for instance, with Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that Activision, they really put a lot of time and effort in making sure everything was as smooth as possible, and we've had a very, very good impression of what the game was going to be like. But I've got to say, after playing alphas and betas and then progressing to the actual game, I found the concept they introduced to be ingenious. We've seen some small sections, we played them quite a bit, but once we got into the Warzone, which was offered a few months later, we brought into a completely different territory, and it was more remarkable and more entertaining, and it required a lot more thinking and input from other gamers, basically squads playing together. It was just the best possible way. So in fact the original beta was a bit like a short demo, but then later we expanded on it with lots of different maps and missions and activities. So that really worked perfectly. It was probably one of the best I've done in a long while, and no wonder that Warzone is the most popular game on the planet. If you look it up, you'll see that there are very many millions of people playing it every single day on all platforms. It's cross-platform, so you will get in the arena some guys on PCs, others on Stadia, the third lot on PlayStation and Xbox, and they'll be all attempting to win a particular match. I needn't say, anyone who's a dedicated gamer will know that full well. Being on a PC with a shooter will give you a tremendous advantage. Even if you're using a keyboard on your Xbox, it's not going to be the same. There's a degree of lag in there. Being on a very high quality PC, gaming PC, as they call it, on a top-notch gaming rig, you'll have a lot of advantage, and you'll be able to see people from far and aim perfectly. So if you are really a hardcore gamer and you really are into FPS, then doing it on a high quality PC is your best bet. If you're doing it for the scores in particular, or if you want to be a competitive gamer, just forget about consoles and everything else. You've got to be on a PC. You've seen that the top-notch competitions are played on very advanced PCs and with the fastest processors, the best graphics and everything else. But it's more to do with the quality of aiming and your abilities, which you gain through the use of mouse and keyboard. That will put you in a tremendous advantage compared to somebody else. But don't forget the other factor, very important with the overall FPS and particularly PvP gaming, is your internet speeds. You don't come across many videos online coming from the developers or the publishers indicating if you want to be very successful with Warzone, you've got to have the fastest fiber. Well, they never say that, but actually that is the case. You have got to be on the best possible speed, because otherwise you will experience difficulties with your shots being registered somewhat later. Other players on faster fiber being able to see you earlier than where you can see them, and you will have some technical issues and you will not be able to compete, let's face the facts. But obviously if you are a competitive soul, you can probably learn some tips and tricks. You can try to master your skills. despite the fact that you're losing, you're being killed, and you're being killed because your movement path could be extended to about 2 or 3 seconds back, and so it's an easy kill. Basically what it means is if you're lagging, your character's moving forward, and all that path, let's say from a building to a shed, is you, right, for about a second and a half, and the other guy who's chasing you starts firing randomly. He hits the path and you're gone. He didn't even see you. That's the way it works with those slow speeds. So keep it in mind if you are competitive. It doesn't bother me too much. I'm not a competitive gamer, but it can get frustrating where you have top-notch sniper in Apex and you fire off 2 or 3 rounds at the enemy and they don't even flinch. And what happens is somebody else fires off 1 round at you and you're dead. And that really is down to the speed. Right, so we talked about those reviews. That will be beta test reviews, and then also we are coming to what people like watching here the best, and that is the actual streams, basically the games being streamed here on my channel. Well, that will change quite significantly. This channel's been built around Destiny, and I've played Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 for more than 2,000 hours combined. And it's been a wonderful experience. Destiny, one of my favorite games of all time. So we built a wonderful community. We got loads of community sessions, particularly during the first year, where many of our friends and colleagues were jumping in, joining us in various expeditions and missions, be it story missions, strikes, or any other. We had a lot of fun and we had a lot of entertainment overall. We are changing the course somewhat at the moment because I'm a variety gamer, and streaming for quite a bit is then preventing me from being able to try other games. So we'll have maybe a few of those games that are considered to be the backbone of this channel, and then in addition to that we'll be looking at all other niceties coming out, be it the newer games or some of the golden oldies, the favorites. In fact, I can tell you on the Xbox I had downloaded and I've got now fully installed 79 games, and amongst the 79 games, there are those like Mass Effect 1, 2 and 3, Assassin's Creed, the trilogy, the first 3 Splinter Cell in the series. We have new games like Destiny 1 and 2 and Anthem. We have loads of less well-known games which are on Xbox Game Pass, and the idea is to be combining, to be introducing, to be enjoying the games. And I think my one part of the concept for what I'm intending to do is to have maybe specific days where certain things are being delivered. So you can have like Golden Oldies Day, and you can have a browse through the older games of the older games that have come out over the years. Splinter Cell I just mentioned. There could be the old Halo trilogy, and we know that's been remastered and delivered in a wonderful Master Chief package. We can have maybe some other games from that period that can be streamed. Xbox, with its backwards compatibility, is providing us with all of this at all times, so that's obviously of a tremendous asset. And Golden Oldies could then be also spent on certain requests from our community, because we know that all we do here is based on our community effort, and really I'm very grateful to all the members who were with us right from the beginning. We might have a week celebrating 2 years of existence, and then we might have some parties like doing some Destiny 1 and 2 strikes or Crucible matches, and we'll decide obviously as we go along. But what's very, very important is to know that we all have got to be doing it together, and we all have to be connecting and communicating through both online gaming as well as our social networking platforms, and then coming up with different ideas. Which actually brings us back to the final section, the section number 7, which is called community-based streams. Well, these ones have been both the most popular and the most entertaining for us all from the beginning. These are the streams where we get our members to come in and then either discuss the games that they're currently doing, or indeed them coming in and doing certain activities in a particular game. So we've done that with all of our games, and our community has been very alive and vibrant. We have about 400 roughly of those people who are dedicated community members of all ages, of all backgrounds, from all kinds of countries around the world. I mean, I was very pleased to see that we had community members from Iran, from Iceland, from Egypt, from France, from Netherlands, from Belgium, from Denmark, from Slovenia, from Croatia, from Italy, from the UK, from the US, from Panama, from El Salvador, from Russia, Poland, Czech Republic, Romania, Serbia, you name it, countries around the world. And we all have one aim in mind, which is to join hands together as gamers, to talk about the interesting things, to discuss games and maybe other issues, and to become a vibrant, live, very engaging community in which lots of different important issues could also be raised. And this could be some very important noble causes, such as charity work. You will know that you will remember that one of my last selection of streams were dedicated to British Red Cross. I was doing the streams for them, and we were raising the profile of all the charities that are involved in the fight against the pandemic on the global level. And so getting community together could also be raising important issues. For instance, mental health issues for younger people, homelessness, financial worries, health issues overall. Obviously, at the moment, literally the entire world is concerned about the health of our civilization in view of this dreadful pandemic. And I get, reports and new discoveries and analysis every single day coming to my desk, indicating what the latest research was, what the figures were, and I'm just flabbergasted. I'm stunned. I'm shocked to see that despite all the effort and all of that investment that has gone into the war against the pandemic, we still are indeed not that near to the final victory. And therefore we have to adhere to social distancing and to protect the equipment, and we need to follow the rules in order to preserve health of both ourselves and indeed of our loved ones. And it's very, very important everyone remembers that during this very, very difficult period. So our community-based streams will be very much based on all those ideas. They will be dedicated to a particular game or particular subject or activity, and indeed we'll be listening to our community with their own votes and their own ideas on what they want to be seeing here on the channel. In terms of the actual timing and the schedule, I'll have my news early in the day, and my streams will be delivered in a shorter 2 to 3 hour format in the afternoon. So for anyone who is perhaps not able to step in on those days, you'll be able to access all of those streams through YouTube channel. Every one of my streams so far has been archived, and that's one of the reasons as to why I did not continue with the Mixer, the former Xbox streaming platform, which I found to be technically very, very deficient. I complained about this to the executives there and to the Xbox ambassadors and various other people based at Microsoft, and I obviously was not surprised to see that they decided to discontinue with the platform, because it turned out to be not successful and didn't perform well. Most notably in my case, I did record lots of news bulletins which then were not archived properly. So you would record it, and once you went back to the VOD, they were not there, and the explanation was, well, they simply didn't record. Well, that's not good enough. Compared to Twitch, we got like 100% reliability, and every one of the things that you do on Twitch are always fully recorded and archived, and that was just simply not workable for anyone who does it on the pro level. And therefore, coming back to my earlier point, anybody who is not able to be with us on those days or during my broadcast, please do go to my YouTube channel, which is DRBMiller Gaming, and you'll be able to see all that we completed. And indeed, you can obviously communicate through all the other social networking forums. Send us a tweet, send us an email, provide us with some comments, and engage also with other gamers. Make sure you listen to what they have to say and all that they do, really. As you know, lots of our gamers are also engaged with various games on different platforms. They're playing PC, Xbox, and on PlayStation, but we've had some people doing Destiny on Stadia as well, which I thought was pretty good. And I think, was it PUBG and Warzone? I can't remember now off the top of my head, but there were people who were engaging with this brand new platform as well, which indeed is a very serious competitor to the other ones. Alright, so I told you all about the Season 3. and we'll have a couple of test streams before we crack on with the full season. I will do later today a review of another game that we are hotly anticipating. The game I am very, very excited about, and I have to say all of that is directly the result of me playing its beta. The game, of course, is Marvel Avengers, and the beta was available during last weekend. I was to do the review on Monday, but due to other commitments we sort of postponed it till today. So we'll have a follow-up after this broadcast, which is going to be dedicated to the review of Marvel Avengers. We'll go through the list of what the game is about, and indeed we'll look at all the ins and outs of what was experienced. But I've got to say, as a beta, it was probably one of the most enjoyable ones and most carefully considered and construed beta versions of a game that I've ever seen. It really was something of a tremendous quality, and you had this splendor arising from every one of the characters. The way they've done it is that you were able to try all the characters, and they beautifully kind of blended them in with the story and the activity you had there. They all had special skills, and what amazed me was that it did seem, we'll have to see whether that's obviously fully developed in the final version of the game. The game was combining everything, literally from your RPG and the story-based game through modding and special skills and collectibles and inventory and all other add-ons. So this character is like full of all kinds of activities they had to complete, and each character was significantly different. So I believe that if you're choosing a different one every single time, you will be able to learn a lot of different things based on those various skills, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. It worked perfectly on the technical front. The graphics were out of this world, very, very close to real life, and it really did feel that with the games like that, we are merging the two industries together, the film industry and the video game industry. That is the natural progression. The game I talked about earlier on, Tell Me Why, is very similar in that respect. And I also believe that lots of people who are into video gaming will expand their interest towards the film industry and vice versa. It's just we're facing a new generation of audiovisual entertainment, and we all need to be open-minded and accepting of what is being given to us. We also have to be patient, because with video games there may be all hits and misses, and if you are considering the games that have come out on new consoles, for all of you who watched the Xbox presentation and also Ubisoft presentation on the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you would have seen that that's just absolutely astonishing. And it's a game that's very much like a film or like a television series, with all different types of episodes scattered around the old England and the Viking invasion and all that was happening in those distant days on our isles. And I've got to say, beautifully researched. So many different facts and figures in there. People will learn from the game that previously would have been omitted in history books, or they went to school and tried to learn about the defense against the Vikings and all that's been happening over here. In addition to that, you have this fantastically, beautifully visualized story. You have all those facts. You've got so much to memorize, and then you have the RPG element of collecting inventory, building your skills, modding your character. So that's the next generation. That's the next step. And I'll just conclude my introduction. We are coming to the end of our time. I can see a couple of minutes left with a reflection that I was giving the other day in my other forum, which is called Film Dialogue. And that is all about the difference to which you experience this particular medium. You see, if you're going to cinema, and let's say you watch Tenet, which is the newest film of Christopher Nolan's, you are going to be brought into a very deep inner exploration of both your emotions and the activities on the screen. If you believe that the activities on the screen actually represent the director's mind, then you'll be communicating both with him and his vision of the world. But it's sort of internalized. It's what you feel from what's happening on the screen, how you are experiencing it, and how you're communicating with the vision that the director has given you, together with his associates, with actors, with his cast and crew. So it's a bit of it's an intellectual exercise. You are communicating, and particularly if you are being affected by those emotions, if you like the story, if you like the vision of the world, you will go back and see it again, and you will, every single time by watching a film, you'll be finding out something new. Your experience will be different, and that's based on your own life experience as well as what's currently happening around you and the way you're perceiving the film on every single viewing. The difference with the same story, let's say of Christopher Nolan's film, being brought into the video gaming world is that you become an active participant. You will have a section like what I described with Valhalla, which is RPG, which is based on a story or a campaign, similar to what you watch in a film. You need to follow the story, the characters, and all that's happening there in order for you to feel fully engaged. But then on the other hand, you have all the other activities to which you are an active participant. You're fighting the enemies, you're building your skills, you're collecting inventory, you are looking at all other kinds of mods which are going to be changing the character that you're playing and interfering with the story. You will have certain decisions that will affect the outcome. You become an active part of that fantasy world. So you could see this is a natural progression from what we had previously with television films and indeed with those in cinemas. We were actively participating through the activity that was based on our mind, on our emotions and our thoughts. In this instance, we have exactly the same, but that is being coupled with the actual active engagement with the story, with the characters, with everybody who's present there, as well as with an interactivity that is enhancing our position within that fantasy world. And that is truly fascinating. I've got to say, as a gamer, as a person who's been watching them right from the beginning, the last 25 years, obviously the games existed even beforehand, but I'm talking about PCs, console games. The remarkable advancement has been utterly mind-blowing, and I am in awe of those developers and all they do today, and I'm very excited about all that is to follow with both of our consoles coming out soon and all the projects, even too many for me to remember. It just seems that we are progressing towards an era where all of those things are going to be, first of all, easily accessible even on platforms and mobile phones, as well as with the kind of activity that will bring us a sense of tremendous reward. Because don't forget, doing Assassin's Creed Odyssey or indeed Valhalla is going to be as entertaining as it is going to be educational, because you will learn all about the world, which in fact is a real world. Some of the things that you do in the game had taken place, and anyone who played Odyssey will tell you that the section where you walk through the ancient Athens and you get to talk to different characters who are training you and teaching you about the history is the best possible learning exercise you could have. So even that has been included. So the overall massive big AAA blockbuster becomes almost like an educational platform through which you can learn all about that particular world, the history of it, and all that was indeed taking place many years ago. So these are all very, very exciting developments. Right, so I hope that my season 3 and its somewhat different structure is going to be providing you with a lot more entertainment and enjoyment. Hope you guys are going to be coming back and indeed talking to us about all that you enjoy doing whilst entering our beloved video gaming world. Hope we'll have some new people as well as the old ones, and let's just remember that video gaming is all about communication and connectivity. As we join hands, as we talk to other gamers worldwide, always please keep one certain thing in mind, and that is we're here to make the world to be a better place. Expose some of the important issues. Talk about what you feel needs to be done in your local community. Think about charities. Think about those who are in the need. Think about people who are suffering, people who require our assistance. Dedicate yourself to something which is considered to be a noble, charitable cause, and therefore you will make that big change in the world by becoming a hero yourself. Like what I used to say, be a hero by staying at home, because you're protecting lives, you're protecting your local health service, you're protecting your loved ones, and that's the way forward. So, my season 3 will commence shortly. Hope you guys enjoyed our introduction today. Hope to see you all very, very soon, and I wish you all a very, very good afternoon. In addition to that, I'll invite you to our Marvel Avengers review, which is going to be commencing very shortly, and hope to see you there. Take care.